So before I left for Taiwan, I was trying to create this like irrigation system in my garden with natural, water flow. And digging right here, I found this absolutely beautiful red clay. So it's kind of been in my head. I pulled some of it out. It was really just and I pulled it out and just shaped it just to see what would happen and left it here. And, obviously too wet and too much dirt still in it, but it crumbled. But I think there's a nice opportunity to do something with this clay. So I'm going to dig some of it out. I'm going to process it and we'll see what I can do. Maybe I'll even build like a little backyard kiln thing. Yeah, why not? So what I remember hearing is that for wild clay, like the clay that you find in nature, you have to sort of filter it, like mix it with water and filter it to get all the organic stuff out so that your clay will be pure, and then you'll dry it out. So I think the way to do that, which I'm guessing, is I'm going to use this cloth, and I'm going to just pour water over it and hope the clay goes down into the middle. This is a nice bucket full of good clay soil. And the idea is that I want the soil, the smaller particles, which clay becomes very small, to go through, and the larger organic matter and stuff to stay on the top. So we'll see how that works. I'm not really sure that method is working the way I hoped it would. So I've filled up the bucket with water and I'm gonna stir it around and try that method instead. And the mosquitoes out here are pretty bad right now, but I'm covered head to toe, so I should be good. So I guess we'll see if I did this right. I processed that whole bucket, and basically I ended up with this, which is like sandy kind of soil with small rocks in it, a bunch of small rocks, some kind of interesting, like this one, which looks like it might have some human work done to it. And then 2 buckets filled with essentially slip, which is clay water. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these sit for a while. I'll cover them up and I'll let them sit and let the clay settle out of the water. And I should be able to take the water off the top. There's still probably some soil elements. I think I'm going to get on the internet and see what the best way to separate the clay at this point is. This is about as far as I know. Later on, I'm going to take the clay, I'll dry it out, I'll crumble it, smash it up, and then reconstitute it. And that should give me workable clay so that I can, make some pottery or something. Okay, so it's been a few days. Those were all the rocks that I pulled out of the thing. I've got 3 batches. This is a t-shirt with the biggest batch of the clay, which is drying out a little bit more. I put some in an old rusty tray right here. That needs to dry out a little more also, and probably problematic because the rust is going to get in there. Well, I have heard that it's good to put some minerals and things. And then this is the 3rd batch. This was like the first clay that I pulled out, and I put it in this bandana and set it to leak out. This is going to be me opening it for the first time. So let's see if I can set this up so we can see it. Let's see. What's the best way to do that? Maybe just like that right there. Okay, so we'll do that. And back here especially, I have to just totally suit up because mosquitoes. I don't want to put neem in the pond, but I think I'm gonna have to because they're so bad. So this is the clay that has dried out the most. Let's see if it's dried out enough. It's actually still pretty wet. It's been a long time since I worked with any clay, so I'm not really sure exactly what I should get, but that's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. I mean, that is not mud. That is clay. I think it needs to dry out a little bit more in order to be actually workable. Right now it's too wet still. And there's also something about, like I said, adding in some sort of materials, but I mean, that's clay. That's wet clay, but it is definitely clay. So fun as that is to rub that all over myself, I'm gonna tie it back up and let it sit for another day or two, and then maybe we can. So it's been sitting for about 2 days because it's not hot here in Hokkaido. It's funny, I'm trying to save as much as I can, but probably the best thing to do is just do that. You know, and that was a full bucket of garden soil that was heavy with clay. Okay, so we'll tie that back up. And let it sit for another day. That's that. Now I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, it's been 5 days now, and I'm just not sure if I just made a big sticky pile of mud. This is the bandana and the tray. It's still a little too wet to even try to work with. And the t-shirt I've just left as it is. It's still soaking out mud, so soaking out water, so I'll let it continue, and we'll see. Okay, so I seem to have made clay. I'm still not completely convinced, you know, we'll see when it fires, but, you know, at least I can do this with it now. So, you know, it does have plasticity, but I'm still not completely convinced that I didn't just make mud. So I'll try to make a pot, and I'll try to fire it, but I don't quite know how I'm going to fire it. That's another issue. So I built a fire pit back there, but to get it hot enough to like turn clay into pottery, I don't think I can do that yet. So I'll have to build a kiln. It goes one deeper and deeper. Okay, well, because I don't know for sure that I've even made clay in the right way, what I've done is I've taken a little bit of the clay or maybe it's just mud, made fine silty mud, but it does seem to have that plasticity. So I've taken some of that and I've brought it in here and I put it in this, like, I bought these one-piece gummies and I ate the gummies and I put the mud clay into the mold that the gummies were in, and then I'm gonna put that in my dustpan and I'm gonna then fire that in my little stove, and we'll see how that works. Okay, so my challenge now is to get these out. So that didn't work well at all. These aren't recognizable as one-piece characters at all, but I'm just gonna fire them anyway. And this is my little stove over here. You know, that's not what it's designed for, but I just want to see if I can make them into some sort of bisque. So turn that on, heat all the way, and let it go. And you can see that I put in another piece. I just made like a coin and put my initials on it, just to see what a little bit thicker piece would do. And that's what's happening.